All right. Good morning, Wabash. Speaking today in chapel is Jim Ray. Jim Ray graduated from Wabash in 1995 and is a third-generation transportation professional. Jim, who is a programmer, transportation lawyer, and entrepreneur, founded his first technology-based transportation company on January 1st, 2000. Over the next decade, he built several brokerage and trucking companies, the largest of which he sold in 2009 to the billionaire financiers of Groupon.com. Jim recently co-founded FASTPORT, a technology company addressing our national trucker supply crisis by better matching truckers to trucking companies, providing great careers for truckers and growth for trucking companies. FASTPORT currently employs 3 Wabash men and has employed 7 Wabash interns. Jim lives in the Boston area with his wife, Emily, also a lawyer, and their 2 children, Olivia and Jack. Giving his talk titled Sex and the CEO, please welcome Jim Ray.
Good morning, Wabash. Sweet. I always wanted to do that. So some of you guys will do chapel talk someday, I bet. It's very different from this perspective. I feel really, really high. So anybody interested in this topic? Raise your hand if you're interested. Trying to look for who doesn't know where the topic is today? The long-haired dude doesn't know. All right, well, I'm going to pick on you then. All right, so today's topic is sex and the CEO. First, I got to thank some people, though. I'd love to thank the Spinks Club, and especially Alexis, who asked me and encouraged me to do this, and he asked me to pick a stimulating topic. So if today goes bad, we're all going to blame Alexis, and I hear the wrestling team's here, right? Huge season? Yeah, so if it goes really bad, I'm going to ask you to go after him. All right? When you do a talk like this, if you're in my shoes someday, there's all these talks online, and I think it's a good idea to look at some of them. Did anybody see Professor Ingram's talk? She gave some good advice. I made sure to eat 8 species of varied varieties this morning, so that was cool. Ethan Hollander's, I'm going to take his advice to heart. Don't pee in the chapel. Although this is kind of a scary topic, so who knows what's going to happen. Thomas Brambry's, 50-year history. I'm not going to even try anything like that, but it has been 20 years. Yikes, since I've been at school here. A lot of changes, a lot the same. One of my favorites was Gene Williams. How many were here for Gene? It was awesome, truly. And when I was deciding on my topic, I luckily stumbled right upon one of her first lines of her talk, and I'm going to quote it. She's talking about Wabash students. Why would a 95-year-old woman, what would she have to say to Wabash students? And she said, what are these guys thinking, whose current interests are sex, food, it's almost lunchtime, sex, where to go on spring break, getting a job next summer, and sex. So I was thinking, all right, Gene, I can do that. But so it just seemed appropriate that I would follow her with this topic. She's kind of like following Elvis, though. She was quite good. Today, I was thinking of asking for some volunteers. Anybody want to volunteer? You have to be really comfortable with yourself. That dude is brave. Any others? 2 men. We are becoming more liberal here. I love it. Yeah, very good. I am kind of kidding, unless it goes really bad. But today, I'm not really a lecturer, so I'm going to try to do my best to involve you guys. It's kind of hard with such a big space, and I think there's a great risk for me to offend some people just because of the topic. I promise to offend you all equally, no matter what. And I also promise to be as honest and forthright as I can as I offend you. My story is probably a lot like a lot of yours. I came out of high school, excelled a little bit, came to campus and, pretty proud of who I was and pretty excited about being here. And I got the great honor of running for Coach Johnson, which was great. And you realize when somebody has a profound impact on your life, like Coach Johnson has on mine, when just a few weeks ago I was coaching my my 10th grader in basketball, and I was having them chant, "The will to win begins within," and have them chant. I might have heard that 4,000 times at Wabash. A lot of you guys probably didn't have the benefit of Coach Johnson being around so much, but oh man, the will to win begins within. It's pretty funny coming out of a 10th grader's mouths. So one thing I noticed after I got here, though, is that there were no women. But I noticed it in an interesting way. And so can anybody just shout out their impression of many, let's say, Wabash parties? What's that? Beer's good. Yeah, what else? Well, how about a ratio? Somebody yell out a ratio. 8-1, 3-1, right? So, I don't know. So I thought I was pretty smooth coming out of high school. So by about 2 months here, my pickup lines, here was one of my best ones. Because you're just getting so much pent up, you know. I mean, we are obviously not good at economics here. I mean, we really truly are great at economics, don't get me wrong, but supply and demand, just awful. So I imagine Wabash as this giant slingshot, right? That the longer you're here, the more it's pulling you back to launch you into the world. In most ways, it's good. I mean, look at our alumni, it's just some incredibly accomplished people that go out and do fantastic things. It was super cool. But on the personal side, I got to warn you guys. How many are graduating soon? Oh boy. You're going to probably go out and try to make up for lost time. Yeah. So I, in my infinite wisdom, decided to go to law school in New Orleans. All right? And this next story has to stay in this room, okay? So you're at great risk of doing some really dumb things, okay? Just because you're going to go out there with incredible enthusiasm, okay? 4 years of built-up enthusiasm. So my first year in New Orleans, it was my first time to ever experience Mardi Gras. And Mardi Gras is truly very misunderstood. I mean, it lasts for weeks. And it is really quite a wonderful thing. And big parts of it are just really awesome. It starts real early, and the early parades are just wonderful because they're local people and their family. And the parades, especially at night, are just beautiful. There are these lit floats going down the roads, and it's a positive, amazing experience. But then there's these things called beads. And they are the most bizarre currency that you'll ever imagine. And they just remove inhibitions because people just want beads one way or another. Some inhibitions in bad ways, some in embarrassing ways, but I'm like, all right, this is great. There's girls everywhere. And the ratio was fantastic. So we were out to one of the early parades, and I got to talking to a couple girls, and they were from another law school far away, and I'm doing great, and we're having a good time. I'm going to show them New Orleans, and it turns out they had 4 friends, so it's me and 4 girls, and it turns out they had 2 more friends, and I'm taking them to do oysters and have all sorts of fun things, and I'm thinking, man, 6. I'm doing pretty good. This is going to be all right. So my last coherent memory of that night is I'm riding up in the elevator with all 6 of them. And I'm like, this is going to be legendary, right? So that's my last memory until the morning. And I did wake up with a porcelain goddess that I was curled up with, the throne one. And I was like, oh, I feel terrible. I just got to get out of here. And I ride down this giant hotel in the elevator, and all the people in the elevator are looking at me really funny. And I find a cab. It was hard to find a cab, and the cab driver's looking at me really, really funny. And I go home, and I go to sleep. And about, 4 or 5 hours, I wake up later, and I go down, I eat some breakfast, and my roommates are just shaking their head, looking at me funny. And I go up to brush my teeth, and I look in the mirror, and they had done my makeup. Like, you would not believe. The glitter, and I mean, I did not look good. So take that as a great a great caution as you get shot out into the world. Pace yourself. Please pace yourself. So then you go through school, you start to steady out a little bit, and you go out into the real world. And you wouldn't believe the successful people I've met from Wabash. I mean, it is incredible what we are able to do. And, you know, we go out and run companies, and we become great doctors, and we become great lawyers, and become great scientists and economists, and you name it. We're just great, at the tops of our fields. And that was where I was lucky enough to be, at least for a while. And one day, I find myself in a room full of CEOs, 15 of them. And they are some of my absolute business idols. And I look around the room, and I realize that every single one of them was on a second marriage. Every single one. Every single one of them was in terrible shape and unhappy, but amazingly successful, rich, working 7 days a week. I mean, these guys were some of the best of the best. And made me think back to Wabash. Well, how good a job are we doing preparing for the second half of our life? So many of us are incredibly successful, right? And we're preparing to be incredibly successful. Have we forgot about the second half? And so this is the origin of this talk. So I wrote down some of the questions so I didn't get them wrong. But a question: can our greatest capabilities be some of our greatest threats to happiness? Are we really great men if we're only great professionally? If we fail professionally but have great success personally, which is better? Really? And then the funner questions. What if we put as much effort, intelligence, work, creativity, knowledge, passion in some sort of exceptional personal adventure? You know, our ultimate liberal arts question. What if we applied this legendary education and our professional experience to something outside of work and professional success? So, I don't know much about the psychology and sex and all that stuff, really. I am no expert. But I do know business. So I thought, okay, let's apply business to this. So, we already talked about a Wabash party a little bit. Okay? They might leave something to be desired. We'll leave it at that. Then let's look around. The interesting survey result, 57% of our respondents are in relationships, which I thought was a very good number. So we're doing all right, sort of. But then I think back to my college days and how many of my buddies were really with the one. I don't think it was 57%. So as Wabashmen, what are our assets? You know, when you're a businessman, you look at the opportunities that come along and you evaluate them. You look at your assets, your liabilities. What are our assets? What's that? Education's one. That's a good one. So the Wabash Man, might it be that the Wabash Man is a fantastic brand? I mean, we're all incredibly different. But we have this gentleman's rule. We've all made an outlier decision when coming to this school. You don't make the decision to come to this school without great thought. That makes us different. That is part of our brand. I wonder if we can sell that. It's a good asset. All right, what else can we sell to the world? What do we have plenty of? Not beer. That guy over there was wanting to say beer. I knew it. That's the one. Yeah. We have tremendous male supply. Yeah, we got plenty. We got some to go around. Okay? What else do we got? I like to think we're smarter. We might be a little arrogant. Maybe a little. But I like to think we're smarter. I also think we are more capable of teaming. Okay, of working together towards some sort of cause. I don't know why that is. We got the wrestlers over there. They say, yeah, we can take pretty much anybody down, right? Yeah. And then, of course, our pent-up enthusiasm. Power of small city. All right. Yell out a liability. Come on, guys. You go to these parties, you've been here a while. Where are we at? Ever hear the business term location, location, location? Yeah. All right. We have a little bit of a caveman reputation, but not too bad. Improving all the time. Okay. Time, we work awful hard. So, survey respondents, I don't have the exact number. I have it here somewhere though. Let me grab it. What it ended up being is more than half of us spend less than half of our time actually doing something about the thing we think about all the time. Okay? Because we're working hard. Okay? And we also have, as a liability, pent-up enthusiasm. Okay? So there's some business principles I want to talk about real quick, okay, that we can apply to this problem. First one, who knows what a BHAG is? A big, hairy, audacious goal. It was real popular in the business idea. So one big, hairy, audacious goal might be to, for instance, get everybody in this room to have a romantic experience by a great talk, okay? But it is to set a goal, okay, and make it a big one. Interesting. The second one that I love, actually, my guy Colin, he's a full-time Wabash man is a full-time guy for me. One of the best guys I've ever hired in my entire career. Turned me on to permission marketing. Anybody know what that is? All right, I'll give you an example. Give me a pickup line, a good one. Say it again. How much does a polar bear weigh? I don't know. Enough to break the ice. All right. Give me another one. What did I miss? Give me another one. Fantastic. Yeah, that's one I've heard a lot. Are you tired because you've been running through my head all day? So, people who think pickup lines really work, raise your hand. One dude, man, you must be great on delivery, right? So, pickup lines are an example of interruption marketing. You know, pop-up ads on your browser, spam, television commercials, they interrupt your show. People just don't like them, okay? And they're very expensive, and to be successful with them, you might have to deliver about 100 of, are you tired because you've been running through my head all days, all right? So permission marketing is something that we can talk about a little bit in that it's asking questions. Asking somebody, if they obviously in a town is, hey, where's a great place to eat? And getting them to the point where their favorite place is, that they think is the most romantic, and then taking them there, right? But it's asking questions over time, nice and slow, working it out, okay? How about the power of questions? How many people in here took the survey? Anybody that would have not come had you not seen the survey? All right. Man, you guys come to chapel more than we did. I'm proud of you. I didn't ask you guys to come in the survey on purpose. I just sent out some questions. Okay? That gives me two powerful things. It let me learn about my audience by asking questions, and it helps me market without them knowing I'm marketing to them. Okay? That's something that can be used. And one of my very favorite ones is sell something different. Do we have a different product here? The Wabash Man brand, the gentleman's rule? I think so. All right. So somebody give me an example of the best, let's say, party that you've ever been to. Okay, very cool. Any others? Spring break. Okay. Why was the Indy 500 fun? Race cars that go real fast. Give me another one. How about, has there been any really killer ones on campus? What's that? Say it again. What is a watermelon bust? I don't even know what those are. I'm not sure I want to ask in this context. I'm a little worried about catching on fire in the chapel. All right. So what if you guys actually came up with a strategy, a plan to throw an awesome party? You know, Indy 500 was great because it was centered around a theme, a race that everybody's excited about, amped up, endorphins going, right? Spring break, what do you come there to do? You come there to have the time of your life, right? The time you never forget. Most people only get to go once or twice, right? Because they have other things going on, sports and stuff. It's that one time to do something. You know, what if you guys ran it like a business? It'd be interesting. Choose a strategy. All right, let's take the once-in-a-lifetime experience. Let's say you guys sent out or came up with a strategy that we're going to have a once-in-a-lifetime party, and we're going to ask a whole bunch of girls what they think that looks like, and you start learning about what they think it looks like. Why? To know your customer. Also, to start marketing to them without them knowing it, right? And then maybe limit the supply, saying, oh yeah, we've got this great fund, and we're going to throw this awesome party, but we can only invite 200 people. Okay? To get them thinking, ooh, maybe I want to be one of those 200 people. And then we ask all our girlfriends, hey, go ask all your girlfriends. This is the inside sales person. If you ever want to sell something, especially something hard to sell, you got to have an inside person. And I'm not saying that I ever asked buddies to go work for people that I wanted to be my clients so I could have an inside person there. Never would do that. But you guys have 57% of you are in relationships. Each one of those probably know a few people to meet up with, right? You know, get them to start talking about this. Infuse it with a little rumor. You know, somebody cool that might show up to the party or something outrageous that might happen. You know, put a little drama in it. All stuff we do in business. Sell your team. Pick 10 people that represent the college really good. Make sure their pictures are on part of this as you ask the survey questions and craft this awesome party, right? Ask questions. The whole time, ask questions. Continue the conversation. Closer and closer. Build it up, okay? Make it sure it's different. Do you think they really love the parties at Purdue and IU? I mean, some of them are good. Why don't they like them? What's wrong with that product? I mean, do they really have that much fun, or all the same things over and over again? Just a bunch of people drinking beer and being rude, or who knows what, right? You know? Give before you receive. Okay? Party comes up, send them a cool invite or something, a ticket, I don't know what, something creative, right? So that it serves as a reminder, but it also operates as social proof. Other people say, hey, what's that? Who knows this social proof concept? You want to sell something? Social proof is one of the best ways to do it. Okay, other people buy what other people want. And they see when your friends buy something, they buy something. Okay, make sure they have it. You know, when you show up, if you're going to bust the girls in like we used to do you guys still do that? Yeah, you roll out the flipping red carpet, and I'm not talking figuratively. You roll out a red carpet, you flip some torches in the ground, and you have two pledges sitting there in tuxes, handing out flowers and drinks as they walk onto the bus. Why? Partly to get the people amped up, right? But partly because you guys are spreading an interesting brand for that personal side of life. You know? Why not, right? Why not? And everybody's going to say, what are those people doing? And then they get to go, you won't believe these guys. You know what I mean? Forward your brand, okay? Execute grandly. Whatever it is, do it awesome, just like you would if you're running an awesome business, okay? Anybody know the ABCs, the business? Yeah. So anybody see the famous movie on that? I'll let you guys look it up. Always Be Closing. It's a terribly inappropriate speech, but it is something. But make sure you ask, you know, can I invite you to this? May I offer you a drink? You know, are you having fun? I may have this dance, this next thing, this next thing, this next thing. Take your time. When it's all over, get permission to ask them again. Always. Hey, can we have your email so we can invite you to the next awesome event we have? Send them with a parting gift. More social proof, you know? And then, being the ridiculous business person I am, report systematically. Report back on how it's going, okay? Now, all right, now you've got them. 57% of you got them. Our goal is to get the remaining 43% taken care of, you know? So once this is done, then go back through and ask yourself all these things that apply again. The retention strategy, right? You continue to ask the questions. You continue to know your customer because they change over time. You build something different with the person that you're with. You know, you give a lot. You execute good strategies to get things that are fun. You know, you keep going. It's business applied to life, I guess. All right, so who will actually do this? Anybody? It doesn't have to be the whole grand strategy, but can you see it working? Oh, he's in. We're going to go through life just, oh, come on, guys, you can do it. It'll be cool. It'll be cool. All right, so now the important part of this. I want to talk about why this matters in a real way. So your surveys were incredible, how they came out. They were incredible because of what I didn't expect. I expected some interesting, results, right? But I didn't expect the words that you guys would use. And there's some female respondents too. All sexual orientations, everything. But there were some very interesting, consistent results, and they were so positive, and they were so good. Love was, of course, at the top, which I don't think of as touchy-feely, lovey guys sometimes, but that was pretty awesome. Sex was up there, but then things get really interesting. Respect was number 3 overall for every word we used. Relationship was number 4. Fun was number 5. Actually, if you take confidence and confident, it's way up on the list. It's number 3 if you put those two together. And there were some interesting missing words, like hot and beauty. I expected to see that. Better words, like attractiveness, which is a totally different word in my mind, right? And there were some really interesting differences between the male and female respondents. Both had love as number 1, but females had respect as number 2, which I found a little interesting. Sex was number 9. Yikes. We must be ugly because attractive was way down on the list for them. Fun's really high for them. It's good. The best moment ones were really good. Fun was number 1 for best moments. Happy was number 3. Exciting. Here's other words that we're missing that I thought would be there. You always hear that people marry for money or power or something like that. Money and power didn't even hit 5 total out of 137 responses. And that's word usage, which I couldn't believe. I thought that would be way, way up there. Very interesting things. And then life's going to come along. And of all of us in this room, we're going to meet some real crises. Okay? And are you going to be those 14 CEOs with nobody to turn to when it hits it? Some of us are going to be bankrupt, guaranteed. Some of us are going to wake up one day and realize you have to lay off 100 people. 100 people that help build a business around you that are your friends and that you worked hard with. Some of you are going to wake up, to a loss of life in the family. You're going to wake up to horrible disease. And being able to curl up with somebody at night and get through that, the power of that is difficult to express until it actually happens to you. And if we all want to be great, but will we really be great? Will we be able to handle those really, really hard things without this other part of our life? And I may be joking by treating your parties and your college life as a business a little bit and promoting it in that way. But it really does have an incredible impact, the way you think about life later. For me, the time that it hit me the most was the Boston Marathon. So 11 o'clock on that morning, I got a text from my wife and my daughter, that said at the finish line, ready, having a great time, enjoying the race. My daughter was 11 at the time. They're both in the sunshine. They're standing next to each other. It was a selfie, kind of like this. I would be there. We go every year. We always go to the finish line because it's really the coolest place to be. But my son happened to have pneumonia, and I was working really hard, go figure. So I was working and taking care of him and taking him to the doctor. And I was actually at the doctor getting his chest x-ray, and my phone started buzzing with a bunch of news feeds. And Boston Marathon bombing and these pictures, and I did not have, I didn't know where she was. I didn't know where my wife and daughter were. And I had this moment of about 10 minutes of not knowing what would happen there. And the value that you receive on that personal side of life when you have that moment of absolute terror puts this stuff into context a little bit. So don't mess it up. By the way, what saved him, my daughter had to pee. Not in the chapel. All right. So, God help me. Any questions? All right, so you guys can decide whether or not Alexis needs to be taken down by the wrestling team. I don't know if you're going to be all right, man. I think there's a back door. All right. Hey, one thing before I close. In the past few years, I've got to reintegrate into Wabash a little bit because I got to sell my business and take stock, and it has been really wonderful. I've just seen some great things. I've heard some wonderful things about our new president, President Hess. I've heard us taking some pretty bold stands on some social issues that have caused some conflict, which I love people that stand up. So that's pretty cool. I've gotten the opportunity to hire some Wabash men lately, which has been great. I just hired permanently Long Pham, who will be graduating. One of the most incredible technologists I've worked with, incredibly hard worker, an international student, which has been awesome. I had some really, really fun interns this summer who may have been scared off of business for the rest of their life, and they're going into the priesthood or something, I don't know. And one of the funnest things for me being a runner has been able to see Coach Bush and the distance guys have such great success. And I hate to be so biased because I love running. And I got to run with Coach Bush in college. And I'm just amazed at what they've been able to accomplish. I hear it, actually. I was actually at a hotel, and they were having the big Boston indoor relays. And I was talking to their 800-meter runners, and they knew ours in Boston. They said, one of those guys killed us last year. Okay, it was a really cool moment for me. It's hard to realize how much respect we get nationwide for running, and Bush has done a great job. But I also chuckled to myself a little bit because I'm sure that he makes some waves around here. He's not exactly the politician, and I can sympathize with you, but only to a little bit because, if you've gone up against him when it's your race and he's a year younger than you and he is breathing down your neck for 3 straight years, you understand what it means to be that kind of competitor. And he always had his heart in the right place. Wabash always fights to win and to do the best things for his athletes. So it's just been great to see. And thank you guys very much for having me. And I hope at least some of you get lucky from this.
All right, just a few quick announcements. All right, track will be at Vanderbilt and Purdue Invitational this week. The baseball team will travel to Wittenberg for 2 doubleheaders this weekend. Lacrosse is at WashU on Saturday. Also on Saturday, National Act. Come see White Panda open for Sammy Adams at 8 o'clock. Tickets are free for Wabash students. The Glee Club will perform this Sunday in Salter Hall at 4 p.m. Also, we have a few announcements from the previous few weeks. A couple weeks ago, the indoor track and field team won their fourth NCAC championship in a row, so congratulations to them. Also, freshman Riley Lefevre capped off an unprecedented 41-0 undefeated wrestling season at 184 pounds. Congratulations to both him as being the first Wabash Wrestling National Champion, and also to the whole wrestling team as a whole, who placed 9th out of 62 national teams and team scoring. Congratulations, everyone. All right, please rise and sing Old Wabash. From the hills of Maine to the western plain, where the mountains flow, we share to the northern pine to the light of the southern sea. There's a name of deer and a color we cheer wherever we find it glowing. Cheers your rise for longing as it floats in the evening breeze. When the day is done, the western sun is beaming flashing glory. Across the skies of gorgeous dyes of color we love so well. We love to sit as the shadows flit and praise the song of glory. We love the shadows of light that is out and go. Prayers are always thine, our voices and hearts combine, to sing thy praise for future days shall bring thy name before us. When college days are past, as long as life shall last, how great a joy will be, shout the chorus, dear old Wabash, thy loyal sons shall ever love thee, and o'er the glass falls, the scarlet flag shall proudly flash, go Wabash, sweet and clear the world shall hear the sons of Wabash singing. Flying free the world shall see your scarlet banner go. Beyond the white soil, the sun and highest strength shall stay. Forevermore some days of yore, their deeds be noble and grand. Then once again